throughout the course of the last couple of years, you and I were, specifically when we were doing a later night program here, we were putting out our power rankings each and every week. And this is basically like, listen, if we looked at these teams and these teams were to face off on a neutral field, which one of these teams do we like the best, right? And so this can kind of help as a decent little exercise. And I'm sure a lot of you that are serious bettors in the NFL already do this anyway. But you're trying to take a look at what team you in any given spread, like that helps you power rank and how it helps you try to pick out games each week that intrigue you that you can dig into a little bit further and maybe end up making a wager. So we decided, hey, let's bring it back. I'm here for a couple more days. So let's talk about these preseason power ratings. And, you know, Kelley, for me, I think it's very, very simple. Anyone that's listened to any content that I've done over the last couple of months here on the network knows I really, really like this Eagles team. I really, really like this roster, top to bottom. It is the number one team to me, and it's kind of the number one team with a bullet. And I understand that everything can change on a dime with an injury, and I get all that. But as we sit right now, these are, assuming health, we are looking at the top 10 teams for me. I think the Eagles come in at number one, the Chiefs at number two. Cincinnati Bengals at number three, though, there is at least a looming injury question out there about Joe Burrow. This is one of those things, those calf injuries. Kelley, we haven't talked a ton about this for whatever reason. I guess it's kind of out of sight, out of mind type deal, just because we keep hearing, oh, no, he'll be ready for week one. He'll be ready for week one. Then you get Jamar Chase come out a week ago with that weird thing about, like, I told him to sit the first few games, you know, like, so I don't know if that was him almost preparing the fan base for him not coming out and playing right away or whatever it might be. But listen, these calf injuries, the thing about them is they're just really, really tricky, right? I mean, he can feel like it's getting way better, and he'd go out and he plants and throws in practice, and the next thing you know, it kind of tweaks again. So there is at least an asterisk there with the Bengals at number three, because if Joe Burrow's not out there, obviously, for the first few weeks, then they would kind of fall down my poll. Not all that far, but certainly into that second five, as opposed to being way up there at number three.
Yeah, I hear you. For me, they're in top three as well. We'll get to mine in a second here. But, yeah, I think they've got some concerns, some changes in the secondary for them as well this year. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But as far as, you know, we're talking just pure talent on the offense, I mean, you can easily make the argument they have the most talented offensive roster in the NFL.
You look I'm higher on the Cowboys than a lot of people are, and I had the Cowboys all the way up at number four. I think if you look at the ceiling for this team with what they've got assembled here, I think it's really, really high. I mean, the defense played really well last year for the majority of the season. Dak Prescott kind of catches a little bit of flack when I think he doesn't necessarily need to. When he was healthy and out there playing, he was pretty good. I mean, it was just he played through some injuries and certainly had some peaks and valleys. But I like this Cowboys team, at least as we enter the season. Bills in at number five. They lost a lot of players, and so that's the only reason the Bills come down at number five. Some pretty key guys that aren't going to be in there. They didn't really address that wide receiver 2 position, which I really wish they would have done. Now, if you listen to the beat writers, Gabriel Davis is you know, he's finally the NFL player we thought he could be, but we shall see. I wish they would have done something there. Dolphins in at number 6, and this is before even possibly a Jonathan Taylor thing. I really like what the Dolphins bring to the table. I mean, this is a really good offense and a pretty good defense if you actually look at the advanced metrics from last year. So I really like the Dolphins there. Down at number 7, the 49ers. This is the question around the quarterback position. I've talked about this ad nauseum, so I know you don't mean to keep, kicking a dead horse when it comes to 49ers. But listen, I think if you have 3 quarterbacks, you have none. I think if you have a quarterback coming off major injury, one that you didn't really want to start anyway, and then one that's been a cast off his whole career, I don't know. I understand tons of talent on both sides of the roster, but again, most important position in all of sports is the quarterback position. So 49ers at 7. Jags at 8, Seahawks at 9, Lions at 10. Put them in a basket, pull them out, Kelley. I don't really care. Like those, the bottom 3 right there. If you told me, hey, I like the Seahawks better than the Jags, I'd be like, all right, cool, that's fine. I like the Lions better than the Seahawks. Okay, fine, cool. That's fine. The Jags, Seahawks, and Lions round out the top 10 for me. And honestly, you can kind of shuffle those up in any order, and I'd be okay with it.
Yeah, I'll be honest. We get to mine. I do not have those 2 NFC teams in there. It is very AFC heavy, in which I think the NFL is this year. So look, if we go over to mine, I went Chiefs 1, Eagles 2. This is just a tip of the cap to the Chiefs, sign of respect. I'm going to stop doubting you for a lot of these different things. You keep winning. I'll put you number one. I completely agree with you, though. We were all over the Eagles last year. I don't really expect a big setback at all for this team. Expect them to be right at the top of the NFC and probably challenging for another Super Bowl. Bengals 3 for me. But, every reason that you said. I think this is one of the most talented offensive teams in the NFL. Could easily push the Chiefs and every other team in the AFC to get to that Super Bowl, maybe finally win one this year. I'm drinking the Chargers Kool-Aid this year, man.
Do it. Chargé.
It's my turn. I haven't done it the past couple years.
Good. That's
I'm
true.
drinking the Kool-Aid this year.
You can be disappointed instead of me.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll be that guy this year. I love it. I love everything they have. I think as far as just roster construction, they might have the most talented roster in the NFL. Problem is you've had health issues. You got some new additions to the team they're going to have to work in. But I think that offense is going to be extremely dangerous, and I think that defense could be better from what we saw a year ago. So I do have the Chargers in my top 5. I think this mid-range is tough to kind of sort them. I saw the order that you had them in. I did go Bills 5. I hear you. I think they deserve to take a step back. I didn't know where to slot the Cowboys in exactly. They are by far my second team in the NFC, even though I do have the Niners right behind them in my power rankings. And then I went Ravens, Jets, Jags to round it out. Everybody knows I'm high on the Jags, but it's really just to win that division. I do think the Ravens have that potential to have a great season this year.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.